Hello everyone and welcome back to QuipScope. It's the show where we talk about a brand new video game or a game that's coming out very soon. My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Ashton, what are we dealing with today? Game that's out? Game that's coming out?
Game that's not out for a good couple of months,
Whoa.
actually. We got well early access at a kind of invited event. It was all virtual, so I could do it from the comfort of my desk chair.
Nice.
To have a hands-on experience with the game that's coming in February next year called Deliver Us Mars. I want to say thank you to Frontier Foundry for inviting us.
Thank
It was a
you.
lovely time. There was a presentation beforehand, and then we got to play the game via Parsec in a group of other influencers. It was a bit scary because every time I was not solving the problem quick enough, I was worried that they were going to be like, Ashton, if you were just smarter, you could figure out the puzzle. But actually, I got told at the end that I did all the bit that they showed us really quickly.
Nice.
So basically a pro gamer.
Representing TripleJump on this global scene, global stage.
Exactly. And this game, in case I didn't say the name of it, can't remember if I did, is called Deliver
You
Us
did say, yeah.
Mars. Yeah, cool.
Don't worry.
It is a sequel to the game Deliver Us the Moon that came out a few years ago. Plays very similarly to that one. You've got Kathy Johansson, who's your main character,
Right.
and her little robot mate called Ayla, who helps solve the puzzles and can be used as like a little drone flying around to help solve puzzles and stuff. We got to play kind of an early on level and then a level that's later on in the game. So you'll see kind of two bits that we were shown.
Right.
That gave us an idea of the kind of puzzles that you have to solve and like the mechanics that they were offering you. I'm going to have to say this first. The climbing in this game, I hate it.
Oh, really?
Some people really enjoyed the climbing. People in the like Discord that we were in was like, oh yeah, I really like the climbing. But I just couldn't get into it. I was using a mouse and keyboard, and to climb you have to, for your left hand, press down on your left stick to put your like hook in, and then
Your left mouse button.
left mouse button, and then right mouse button. So the other one you have to kind of like pull yourself up by using the mouse.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into it. I think maybe if I was using a controller it would have been easier, but I just didn't really like it very much.
I can imagine that's the kind of thing I would probably struggle with that to begin with, and then maybe after you've played the game for some hours, you'd probably get really good at climbing really quickly, and
I think
it'd be enjoyable. But yeah, I can imagine that's a tricky thing to get to grips with.
Yeah, I think that was the only major hurdle that I had with the game, was that the climbing, and we got shown a lot of climbing.
Right.
But I will say that the game does look really good. Essentially the story is you're Kathy Johansson, and the Earth, as is with a lot of these kind of games, is falling apart.
Oh no, I thought you were going to say something else beginning with F then. The Earth is flipped.
So yeah, you've gone to Mars to try and get the Ark technology from this colony that went to Mars and are pretty much missing. Like the place you're in is the colony building. It's all like dilapidated. There's no one around. You can't find anyone. There's all these like holograms that are kind of piecing together the story of what's been going on there. And by the looks of it, the main bit that we got in the story from this was that people weren't having babies.
Right.
People were refusing to have babies because they didn't want to raise children in the environment that they were in. So you were in like a nursery where there was all like things painted on the walls, and there was just no kids about, and it was all kind of like something bad is happening, and no one's happy. There's loads of antidepressants. Something bad's been going on here.
Okay.
But Kathy goes on this mission to find her long lost father, who she got a transmission from Mars so she thinks she can find him if she goes to Mars. So she's there being like, I'm just here for the technology, but also I'm going to find my dad. So it's interesting story-wise. We didn't get to see too much of it, but from the presentation we were given and the kind of bits we found along the way, it's got some interesting lore to it, and I can definitely see people enjoying that, kind of delving into what's happened. So yeah, the puzzles that we saw were these like light beam kind of puzzles. So you've got various reflectors, and each light beam has a certain amount of power, and everything it bounces off takes away one chunk of its power.
Right, yeah.
So you have to kind of do like a bit of maths and figure out what you're going to bounce it off, or push it through like a what's like a nullifier to try and take another segment away or something. To solve the puzzles. We got one little puzzle and then one quite substantial puzzle that I won't show you the answer to because we've been asked not to, and also don't want to spoil it.
Oh, okay.
So the puzzles are interesting. The climbing, I hate it. The like visuals look really nice. Obviously, it's set on the red planet, so most of it's sandy, but the inside of the facilities look pretty interesting. The voice acting is really good as well, which is nice. I do definitely think that some people might struggle with it. Just from what I've seen, obviously it's an early build. There's still a few months to release.
We should keep that in mind.
And I've only seen small sections of it, but what we did get shown was quite a lot of similar mechanics and similar things, and I do think maybe people might be like, oh, I've already done this once, I don't know how interesting it'll be over and over again. But again, I haven't played the whole game. I've played 2 picked out sections that were definitely like finished. This is what they will be. So I will take this with a pinch of salt that maybe there is some more going on. But I think that it's a really interesting looking game so far, and if you like the first one, I can imagine that you'll like this one as well. I definitely felt very intrigued and wanting to go back and give it a go. I can't remember. I think it's releasing on everything. So PlayStation, Xbox, PC. I'm not sure if it's going to be on Switch. I think probably not. I think on everything else though. So there'll be different ways to play it for the vast majority of people, I think.
Okay. And I suppose if it is intriguing, if you're saying, oh, you were intrigued by it and you said there was some interesting lore in it, then at least if there are some shortcomings gameplay wise, and again, like you say, it's still probably a work in progress to a certain extent, but that can be enough sometimes to, if a game has an interesting enough story, even if the gameplay cycle is a bit repetitive. Like I really enjoyed, for example, Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, and that was really just walking around and looking for stuff, and not the most engaged kind of gameplay cycle, but you had an interesting story there and an interesting world. So that might be enough for some people, even if they do sort of struggle with some of the gameplay. There's
also a car. Drive
Okay.
around Mars in.
Nice.
And we only got a little taste of the Mars car. And as soon as I got in it, I was like, hey, this feels a bit like Mass Effect.
Right, yeah.
In that, but the new Mass Effect, not the old Mass Effect. Like the car doesn't feel like it is made of paper.
Yes.
And I, again, really tiny bit of driving, but we got to drive from one area to the other. And I was cruising in my Mars car, having a great time.
Nice.
So there is seemingly some like planet exploration as well, and different locations to visit. So
I know you only had a couple of sections, so maybe it wouldn't have factored in, but did you have to like look after your oxygen levels or anything like that, or
not really, no.
Right.
I think you literally went from the car and then straight into the facility.
Right. So it's all sort of
either if there
airlocked.
is, I didn't necessarily get to experience that, but I don't think so from the look of it. I think most of it is just that you are fine. You're not worried about that kind of survival element of it. So I fell off things all the time.
Okay.
That was the only thing. I didn't die from anything else, but there was a couple of times during like sprint jumps or even sometimes the climbing where I just fell to my death.
I'm trying to remember. I think the gravity on Mars is slightly floaty, or is it slightly heavier than Earth? It's like similar-ish. I don't think you would die on Mars just being there, but
yeah. Similar enough that if I fell from a substantial height, I would still die. And I did find a way to die in most levels. But yeah, it's good. I'm excited for February to see if we get a little bit more of a look at some more gameplay. But from what I've seen, it's looking really good. And I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much.
That's okay.
Well, there's just time for a quip.
Yes, I always forget this bit's coming. Deliver us Mars. More like, deliver us more stuff in your Mars car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going somewhere else with that. Deliver us Mars. More like deliver us more gameplay and trailers in a couple of months' time.
That's good.
Please, maybe, if we want to see a bit more of this game. There we go.
Deliver us Mars. More like, deliver us less climbing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Really good quips from us today.
Yeah, we're really on it. It's a Monday, and
the USP to this first impression show, and we're really doing a good job.
Yeah,
you could say we're not delivering.
That's true. Us Mars,
yeah. Great. Well, thanks, Ashton.
That's okay. Thank you to Foundry for inviting us along. We had a lovely time.
Yeah, Thank you very much indeed. And thank you, dear listener/viewer. If you want to hear more about upcoming video games, stick with us on YouTube and the podcast feed.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye then.